Hey, welcome to the If I Had More Time podcast. I'm so excited about this conversation.
Yep.
My name is Eric. I'm the senior pastor here at Mariners. If we haven't met, which I'm hoping that we have, this is my wife, Kay.
Hi.
And then we have Jim and Inez Franklin with us today.
Hello.
And I'm so thankful for Jim and Inez.
Yes.
So I just want to tell you publicly in front of everybody what I'm thankful for about you. So Inez is one of our teaching pastors and has influenced our church in so many ways. One of the courses that we teach regularly here is Deep Dive the Image of God.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to you about like putting that course together in 2020, I think, 20
That's
or
right.
21.
That's right.
And it has served people so well in our church, and you serve in many other ways and such an influence on our church, and really thankful for you shepherding people so faithfully and so well
Thank you.
on our team. And
pleasure.
as a volunteer, I mean, but you don't, both of you, I can't believe that you're volunteers. It's insane how much work you guys pour into the church as volunteers.
Eric, you probably shouldn't be pointing this out
Why?
because they might stop.
No.
No,
You're right.
we work for Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a boss.
Yes,
It's
that's
okay.
And then Jim is one of our directional elders,
Mhm.
and was a shepherding elder, and then now a directional elder, and at some point we'll go back to being a shepherding elder, but has also led the Multiply project for our church. And so I know we have listeners right now at Mariner Santa Ana. You may not realize that the facility you sit in, that Jim is the one who found that facility.
That's right.
We have listeners at Mariners Anaheim, and Jim's the one who found that facility and ran point. And so we have listeners at Mariners Mission Viejo. Jim's the one who designed turning the islands into the Mariners Mission Viejo Kaleidoscope. And so, man, God has just used you in such incredible ways in our church. And those are just some of the congregations. And then Kay and I talk about it a lot. We love hanging out with you guys. Your marriage is really, really beautiful, and
Yeah.
we just have deep respect for you.
I was gonna say when you're talking about Inez mentoring, serving people. I mean, I'm one of those people. Like, I mean, you're a person I can't get enough time with, honestly.
She
So
says it every
kind.
time she comes home
I
from.
do say
Yeah.
it every time.
We love spending
And
time
Jim,
together.
I'm just so glad you retired because if you hadn't retired, I don't know how you would have been such an amazing volunteer. I mean,
He
he's
didn't
like-
retire. He transitioned.
He sold his company.
Oh,
and
is
then
that the word?
It was like the next week almost.
He
it
moved
felt like.
from one role to a different role.
No, literally.
That's it. Yeah.
No,
I don't-
seriously, it's beautiful how you've used your time.
So good. And by the way, you say you love hanging out with her. I do too.
Yeah.
Aw.
We got that in
no.
common. We got
I
that in
know.
common.
I know.
Yeah.
So fun.
So I want to talk a bit about how God has grown your marriage and connect it to the sermon that I taught, which was, hey, you need wisdom. If you're dating, you need wisdom. If you're married, you need wisdom. And how have people come around you and helped you in your marriage? And give us a little snapshot of how long you've been married and how your marriage has grown, and then how people have been a part of that process.
Well, we've been married 22 years. In fact, we got married and we had just started coming here at Mariners Church, just started.
Mm.
And people have been so instrumental in the health of our marriage.
Mm.
We started in a mess. We literally came to Mariners Church, a complete mess.
At that point, you were married or not married yet?
We were not married. We were still dating. We were planning to get married. And we were living in shame. We were really struggling. We were blending a family. And our kids, some of our kids were struggling for various reasons. And so we came here just hurting really bad. And people came around us. And, we were strangers. And very quickly we weren't. And we were so supported. We started a small group in our home right away, not knowing anyone in the church. And the first day, 27 people showed up because something happened with the registration, and too many people showed up.
No way.
Yes, to our home, which is kind of fun. We split them up in two groups and tried to do the best we could. But ultimately, it ended up being about 14 people that we stayed together for 4.5 years. And they really helped us on that journey and poured into our lives, prayed for us, prayed for our children, prayed for God to do a miracle in our family and heal us and bind us together. And I can say we couldn't have done it without
Wow.
community.
Yeah. No, we came here in an absolute mess. And as alludes to the fact that we started in our relationship inappropriate is very inappropriate. And we came here, we weren't married. Quite frankly, it had been a few years since we had gotten together, and it was beyond a mess. And I'd like to tell you that the day we walked in here, from that moment forward, everything, we did it the right way. But that wasn't the case. The reality was there was these weeks of working through, how do we make these next steps and how do we do it? And I'd like to hopefully this is a little PG-13 here, but it'd sure be nice if we could tell you that night we went here on Sunday, October 20th, 2002, and that night I slept on the couch. Wouldn't that be great if I could say that? That didn't happen. But what we did do was we immediately realized that we want to do it right. And this church helped that tremendously. And that was October 20th, and on June 19th, 2003, we got married.
Oh, wow.
So that was the process that started this off. And then, of course, we had the messiness of I had a 19-year-old and an 18-year-old, and Nez's were, let's see if I got it, 17, 13, and 9.
I didn't realize they were all, okay, so you were dealing with 4 teenagers.
No, the 19 and the 18 were at college.
Yes.
Okay.
So my 2 were at college. They were pretty ticked off at their dad.
My son was struggling,
So-
so he was not at home.
Yeah. And then we had the 2 children, one in grade school and one in junior high.
Yeah.
So that's where we started off.
And they were living with you?
They
The
were living
girls
with
were
us.
the
yes.
youngest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had 2 living under our roof. One was dealing with some difficulties, and
He
then we had
was
the
in-
2 in college. So that's
Okay.
how we started off.
Yeah.
And this small group, it was called a small group, not a life group back then. But we jumped right in, and we wanted to get going. And ultimately, these 7 couples came around us, and once a week we got together, mostly at our house. I think nearly every
On
time.
Wednesdays.
On Wednesday
and we cooked
nights.
every Wednesday.
We
That's
cooked
fun.
every
It was
Wednesday.
so good.
And we're still dear friends with most all of them now. A few have passed, but they were just absolutely instrumental.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And we were lucky. Some of them were blended families.
Yeah.
Others were not. Some had been married for a long time. Some were more newer marriage. And so we just got a lot of different voices and perspective
Yeah.
to our journey,
Yeah.
which is beautiful.
And with us jumping in, we jumped into the outreach in a big way. We got involved in many of the verticals within the outreach
Yep.
in different countries and so forth. And one of the efforts was Free Wheelchair Mission, which took us to be invited to Lausanne. And we found ourselves in 2010 at Lausanne, and Peter and Gail Ox was there.
Oh,
And then that advanced in a relationship where they became mentors for us
Oh,
in
that's
such
so
big ways.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, they taught us about legacy and generosity. For us to come from a very broken family to suddenly us thinking about a future and
Yeah.
thinking legacy, thinking like a good future for our family. They taught us about that. They do a Cousins Week, and I was so inspired by that. We started Nana Camp Week, which we've done 10 years now
That's
for
so
our
great.
grandchildren. So they taught us about like really caring about the next generation, being together. And then in our Nana Camp Week, we have a Bible verse, so we teach the kids about the Bible. It was a lot of great things that they inspired us and mentored us as a couple. And they've been married for quite a while.
Yeah.
They know a lot. They've been through a lot, and they helped us as
And
well.
for the listeners, this is a couple that was at this church that were
Lot of history.
very, very involved, engaged, and past elder board chairs or chair. And they're probably 20 years our senior, I'd say approximately somewhere like that. So the wisdom they poured in, and for some reason they just embraced us and loved on us, and we were grateful.
One of the things I've loved about you as individuals and as a couple, and I see it even in talking today, is you haven't gotten over God's grace in your life as an individual, but also as a couple. There's that passage where Jesus says, "He who's forgiven much loves much," and we all know that all of us have been forgiven much. But when you realize you've been forgiven much is when you love much.
Yeah.
And so I'm really thankful that you have an awareness of God's forgiveness, which is what's caused you to be so gracious with your time and investing in other people. I love that you haven't lost your sense of awe for his grace and his love.
Pretty impossible.
Right, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
impossible.
that's one of the things when you that I mean I talk all the time. We don't want our daughters to have the messed up past like I had, you know. But the one advantage is that I think I still haven't gotten over that I got forgiven.
Yeah, that's definitely
you
it's
know.
true. I mean, I struggled to understand grace because I didn't have it messed up. Like I was a good kid, morally good,
Yeah.
you know. So I struggled with that. Okay, I have a question that I'm thinking people listening who have blended families might be wondering. So how did you get over the hump of the kids all being many of the kids being kind of a mess? How did you work? How did you get to the other side of that?
Well, two main ways.
Okay.
And again, these were wise counsel that we received from other couples that we put into action. One of them is we were very intentional of creating space for them to be together. So
Okay.
because Jim's daughters were already out of the house, obviously our kids did not grow up together, and we had all these different categories. We would do every month. We had a birthday gathering.
Okay.
We also implemented for quite a few years, maybe 5 or 6, 7 years. We had Sunday dinners. So our house was open for dinner. Anyone who wanted to come and have dinner with us could, depending on their schedule.
And I got to credit our kids. They showed
came.
up.
Wow, that's great.
That's what I was just
So
going to
they
say.
showed
great.
up.
I love that. That's so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes.
Our kids, at first it started off with my daughter saying, Dad, I want a relationship with you. And Inez kid saying, you know, we want a relationship with their mom. And it was easier for them to accept me because a little bit more of our messy story, when we got together, I was married to my kid's mom. Inez was already a divorced woman. So there was a lot more tension and understandable with my kids.
Sure.
So they didn't know how to, you know, the way that they looked at Inez was jaundice early on. And credit to Inez in just some amazing ways in which she chased them and she reached out to them. And there was some, you know, heated conversations with some things that were said. And it's completely understandable. I remember one guy sharing with me saying, you know, whatever your kids say and do, just always respond by telling them you love them. And that's exactly what we did.
Wow.
And there were some times where what they said was not all that lovable.
Yeah.
But the reality is that's how we dealt with it. And these dinners on Sunday night were critical. The giving them an opportunity to share their heart, even though it wasn't maybe what we heard. Now, one thing we did that caused some tension was in our, here again, I was already a believer, Inez was not. So my life before I came to Mariners looked very much like I was a believer an hour and a half every week, but that was it. There was no other fruit in the week at all.
And the hour and a half being when you would go to church.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to change behavior. And I allowed some men to speak into me. And one thing that stuck with me was, Jim, you have to put God first. And you have to put your wife second. And your kids, although you love them dearly, they have to be third. And if you don't telegraph that, because in a blended marriage, you have to communicate that to your children. If you don't communicate to your children, and non-blended marriages may have to communicate that, but more times than not, they not necessarily have to. It's understood. But in a blended marriage, you constantly have tension between the stepkids and the new parent role. And the only way to mitigate that is to really let them know where they stand, because their fighting is often because what they're saying in their anger is, Dad, remind me that I'm more important to you than your new wife. Or Mom, remind me that I'm more important to you than your new husband. So we laid it out and we said, listen, we need you to know, kids, that we love you dearly, but you're number 3.
Yeah.
God's number 1. Inez, in my case, myself, and Inez's case, is number 2. And you kids are a close, tight number 3, but you're number 3. So don't ever try to figure out where you sit in the pecking order, because that's where it's at. And you need to know that. And for my daughter specifically, it hurt them. But quickly they realized that was, that was wisdom.
Yeah.
And now fast forward 22 years later, and I'd even say if it was 10 years ago, fast forward 12 years later, things are very solid. I mean, our family, brag on them. This was about 6 months ago. We called one of Inez's kids, and we found out that she was over at one of my daughter's house, in a pool party having fun, and this is not a unique situation. It's common, where now they have a relationship with each other. Is there a difference between the relationship between my two girls, between the two of them? Is it tighter than their step siblings? Yes, but they all like each other.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really God's grace. That's beautiful.
And that is what we celebrate, and only God can bring that together.
Yeah.
I want to add, Jim, that the decision to articulate this sort of hierarchy of how our relationship would work, as we learn, it was really a gift to our kids.
Yeah.
Being that we both had been divorced, imagine the amount of insecurity that creates in kids. Like, how long is this relationship going to last? And when we articulated how we're going to put Christ at the center of our marriage and our lives, and then make each other a high priority, we actually were giving our kids a gift.
Yes.
That we were going to make our marriage a high priority. I think they see that now.
Yeah.
At the time, it was like, what? But I think they saw, oh yes, that is important, because if you're not solid, then my life isn't solid
Right.
either.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And it should give them such a sense of security
Yeah,
as well.
connecting to the sense of security for a kid, that is so important.
Yes.
But really, at any age, knowing that the husband and wife are prioritizing each other means, if I can't break this thing up, and I'm the kid, because I know my dad loves me or my mom loves me, but they're so committed that they're not even going to let me come between them, then they're not going to let other things come between them.
Yeah.
You know, they're
That's right.
they're deeply committed to each other.
Yeah.
That actually, in the end, is a gift, because the stability that provides.
And we see now our children, both of Jim's daughters married men that had children from a previous marriage. So they have blended families. That's why we call ourselves the smoothie family,
Yes.
because we have
Blended upon
steps,
blended.
Yeah.
halves. We have an adopted granddaughter. And so and what we see is they run their marriages, all 5 of them, in the same way.
Wow. That's
So
beautiful.
all of them have Christ as the number one, then each other, and then the children. They all have children.
it.
And so they've carried that forward
Yeah.
into their own families.
That's beautiful.
One time we had a birthday party, and we had, X's and steps
My goodness.
and halves. I mean, we had all this
All the
going on,
categories.
and there's a little tension. There's just a little
Yeah.
tension, because you had the grandparents from the other side were coming to our house, and what have you.
Right.
And I just broke the ice. I said, hey, you realize that we got enough steps around here? I could build a 3rd floor. I mean, there is a lot.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So,
That's one
anyways,
of the reasons I wanted to have you on the podcast. I'm
That's
hoping
right.
that the listener now picks up on this, because there are a lot of families in our church that are blended families. And I believe you are doing it so beautifully. And Inez has a book coming out in April called Blended and Blessed, which is, I've read it. It's an amazing book. I have not seen a book written so well articulating God's vision for a blended family. It's based on the Beatitudes. It's an incredible book, and I really believe it's going to be a blessing to a lot of families. So I wanted just to have a chance to talk to you, because I love, and I know God loves, all of the blended families that are in our church, and to learn some wisdom from you. So hearing you articulate that, hey, saying to the children that we're putting our marriage as number 2, Jesus number 1, each other number 2, and then kids number 3, that's a huge, I mean, that's for everybody, every family.
That's
but
right.
You saying that someone would say it's even more challenging in a blended family, I've never heard that till now. That makes sense, though.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
would-
it definitely makes sense.
That makes sense. Well, what are some other nuggets of wisdom that you heard that from others, but also that you would pass on to others in a blended family? I mean, that's a big one that gives the foundation. Not that it's a formula, not like, hey, if you do this, this automatic works, but some principles that are the foundation for the smoothie family, you know?
Yeah.
Well, for us, I think a big one is we took 1 Corinthians 13, the beautiful passage of what love is, when we learned that these are not adjectives, they're actually verbs, that love is an action, that we made a decision early on that we were going to act in love. We were learning.
With
I was
intentionality.
Yes, I was a new believer, first time reading the Bible. And, we were learning. So I'm not saying we had it perfect,
Right.
but we decided we were going to love as an action, not as a feeling. And that meant that if the kids didn't behave well, or they didn't respond the way we'd want it, or didn't lean in the way we'd hope, or flat out push back, that we would still love. And what's beautiful is we watch them do the same. Because I think And in fact, my son just recently was saying to me, he's like, Mom, we do it because we watch you do it.
Oh, that's great.
And he actually said that to me. And there's this sense of forgiveness and a lot of grace. And we offered each other a lot of grace because there's a lot of awkward conversations and a lot of awkward experiences when you're in a blended family. My son just got remarried. He unfortunately went through a divorce during COVID and just got remarried. And at that wedding was his father and his father's wife,
biological father.
Then his stepfather from my second marriage and his wife, Jim and I.
Wow.
And
Stepfather number 3.
And Inez did the service.
And I did the service.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were all gathered in our backyard. And everyone got along great. We actually had a sense of humor about it. And that's what my son wanted. He wanted
There was
everyone
2 extra
there.
toast in there that typically in most weddings aren't there, but
Right.
Yeah,
But okay.
yeah, it worked. Yeah,
You know, it's
so
just
good.
it can be very awkward and
Yeah.
different and a little confusing for people outside and even people inside to kind of experience how blended families can be very complex. And ours is complex. I've heard of even more complex blended families. But if you lean on Jesus, which is really what my whole book is about,
Right.
how to place Jesus at the center, and the Beatitudes kind of are his blueprint for how to make him
Totally.
number one. When you place him at the center, you can do things you'd never imagine. And I would say that's what we've experienced. We've seen grace and forgiveness and patience and generosity and kindness in a way that I don't think we would have if we had not placed.
Early
That's
on,
good.
what we did was we decided to also, besides having these memories on Sunday night, to do something more intentional and intense. So we set up full week vacations that we did every 18 to 24 months. And we've done that for these last 22 years. So, and it doesn't have to be exotic. It can be a camping event,
And
or
everyone's
whatever.
invited.
Everybody's invited. We now have 23 in our family. Our immediate family is 23, 5 kids. They're all married and they got kids.
Right.
It grows pretty quick. And so I'd like to tell you that we still have 100% attendance, but it's always 85 or 90%
That's high.
attendance.
Yeah.
And there's no one not attending because they choose not to. It's due to work or what have you.
Yeah.
With my 2 daughters who married guys that had kids, my oldest when they got married, they had a 7 and a 5-year-old. My number 2 daughter had a 5-year-old. Now the 5-year-old, since she's adopted since, but she was already 5. Now the 7, 5, and 5 now are 27, 25, and 23, I think. And then the biological ones start at 16. So you have these 3 that definitely are now starting to do their life, and maybe they don't join us as much as they had before, right?
Yeah.
But we still have these memories that they get to just go out and have fun together. And that gives us this incredible
That's great.
joy.
Yes.
And what I'm so proud of all 5 kids, and I mean all 5 of them, with intentionality, they have leaned in because they wanted it. And I truly believe a lot of that has to do with the fact that they were never fighting as to where their position is in the blended family. And I think that 1, 2, 3 steps about Christ God first,
Yes.
spouse 2 and 3, that I believe I give that credit to why the arguments and the fighting has been mitigated, as
That's
well
awesome.
as Inez doing an incredible job at chasing after it. And of course, all she was doing is no different than what God chases after
I was
us.
That's
thinking
right.
the very
That's
same
right.
thing.
There's no
Beautiful
different.
picture of that.
That
You know,
is.
Yeah.
And one
it's
practical question, because
yeah.
Ken and I have talked about, now I'm going to try to learn some wisdom from you on this. When our kids are older and they get married and have kids, I've heard that these, like annual or 18-month vacations, how far in advance do you get the dates to everybody?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. So
8, 10
year and a
months.
half.
Yeah, I mean,
Really? Yeah.
You want to do it early because, and you have to figure out what's the right timing because kids are in school.
Yes.
Yes.
And different schools start at different times.
Right.
We have one daughter in Texas, and they start earlier there.
So
yeah.
the 18-month is really good because one time it'll be more in the southern states where it'll be more winter time, and then the next time it'll be more in the northern states where it will be in the summertime where it's not so cold
Okay.
in those areas. So
Yeah.
we've we staggered the times of years to give us options.
And are you taking initiative on that? You're sending
Yes.
dates out?
We are.
Okay.
And that process is also where we have to chase them a little bit because
Yeah.
to show our love to them,
Right.
like this is important.
Got it.
And all of them
Yeah.
are grateful.
Are you switching dates, or are you like, hey, this is the date, whoever
Oh, we
can
No,
make
no,
it?
no.
switch
We
dates
we
on it.
we,
Yeah,
we
because-
make it based on their availability. We want them to be all bought in.
Yeah.
And the best that they can. Some simply can't join or
Right.
can't join for the whole time.
Yeah.
But we try.
I love that idea so much.
Yeah, and we
Yeah,
made
that's
some
great.
some missteps. You know, we thought, well, won't it be good if we tie in a little business here or this and that? And we realized, no, what's really good is we just get together and have fun. Let's
Yeah.
let's keep the business out of it.
Yeah.
Let's let's just do it with fun. So
Yeah.
it's not like it's gone perfect, but
That's
it's
great.
gotten about as good as we could have
That's-
hoped.
But I want to
yeah,
say
it's
something
really
else.
good.
Yeah.
When your family has an in-law, when one of your daughters gets married one day, you now kind of become a blended family.
Right.
Totally.
You start to
Right.
experience just now you have different schedules. You have Christmas. How are you going to organize?
Yeah.
A whole different
Well,
scenario.
that's
other
another
families.
thing. So one of the things
Yes.
we did with intentionality is there's a few of the other halves of the family that Christmas and New Year's are these important dates, and they wanted it. Now, how much of that is really the important date, and how much of it is a power play? Well, it doesn't matter. The reality is, it's okay. So we
Yeah.
always took a subservient role on dates, and it was okay. So our Christmas is never on the 25th. It's like on the 24th, 26th, 27th.
great.
Thanksgiving
I
is
think
never.
that's so great. too.
Thanksgiving is never on Thursday.
Doesn't matter.
Give thanks every day. So it can be any day. And
But that's
we-
when everybody comes, and it can be.
That's right.
I love that.
and that way we give that date to the other sides of the family, and we just give it freely. And they don't and the kids don't have to feel like they've disappointed dad or disappointed mom.
I've already thought about that because I was one of 5,
Yeah.
and
This is where I mean, I'm really messed up. I messed up your family.
no, you didn't. You did not.
because they're all together at Christmas, and you married a preacher, and I'm preach at Christmas.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
now that they're
You know?
that's true. I mean
It
that's a
is.
whole
It's
different
the reality.
thing. But now that there's 5 adult, kids, and so because I'm the youngest, some of my older siblings have adult kids already who have kids. So you're dealing with a lot of adults with different schedules, right?
Right.
So they don't ever do it on growing up we always did Christmas on Christmas Eve, but they don't ever do it on Christmas Eve anymore. And I can remember my mom saying one time, any day's Christmas.
That's
We
great.
can make any day Christmas.
mom's so
It
awesome.
doesn't matter, My dad was more, he's not with us anymore, but he was more like, it must be the tradition,
Right,
you
yeah.
know? But it just, I don't think it works for, like you said, Inez, once there starts becoming, you start marrying and families start being blended, I think that there has to be a huge level of flexibility.
Yes.
And honestly, for us, Eric, it'll be great for it not to be on Christmas Day. We need a break that day.
Oh man,
That's
Like,
true.
Christmas,
It's
Christmas
true.
Day for me is I mean
Intense.
because I preached I think it's like 16 times sometimes going
Yeah.
to Christmas. I wake up I just drink coffee all day to try to and then at some
Stay
point
at it because you're so tired.
and then at
When
some
the
point I
girls
just
were little, that's what he would do just so he could be awake to like play. Because they want to get up early,
Yeah.
to be able to play and put together toys and.
just power through.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
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 Now it's not so bad.
Now they sleep in a little
So
bit.
we'll give up Christmas Day.
I love that. For us, we do it after. Most of the time, we do it after.
Yeah.
And they come so relaxed because they've done all the things. They're not.
That's good.
They're not running from
It
one
is
event
really
to
good.
another to another. Everyone's just in a better mood.
Yeah.
They even bring leftovers, and it's just
Oh,
fun.
even better. Yeah.
It's very
Even better.
Hey, I want to navigate back to like a theological question, which is one of the reasons we love hanging out with you. We're able to go back and forth between
Exactly,
the practical
yeah.
and
Sure.
theological.
Yeah.
So, with your challenge of hey, view the blended family as a blessing
Yes.
and walking through the Beatitudes, I'm wondering if one of the Beatitudes, just off the top of your mind, stands out and then like apply it to the blended family.
Blessed are the peacemakers.
Okay.
Mm.
So Jim's oldest and I had the hardest time healing our relationship, but we really have. And it's, in fact, she read the first draft of the book, the same draft that you read,
Wow.
and she wrote me a really kind note telling me just how much she appreciates how far we've come.
Oh.
But I tell a story there of a time where we really got into a place of impasse, and it was painful, very, very painful. It didn't look like our relationship was going to heal. And we met at a coffee shop, and the Lord put this in my heart. I brought with me an olive tree from our street. I literally just yanked an olive branch off a tree.
It wasn't even our olive tree. Sorry, neighbors.
And I actually made a little circle of it, put it at the center of the table between us. And I tried to tell her how much I loved her. I had read a book about, it's called Never Split the Difference, about negotiating. And the book talks about the importance of knowing what is at stake when you're in an impasse with someone else. When you're trying to seek for peace, know what's most important to you. Because we can come to any argument, any issue, and get caught up in all the details and miss what's most important.
Yeah.
And for us, what was most important was our relationship. Not the issue that caused the division, but our relationship. And so I came seeking to hear and listen and wanting peace between us and wanting her to know that our relationship was most important. And we did make peace that day. And she showed up, right? And I showed up, and we came desiring for relationship and peace. And I believe the blessed are the peacemakers, as Jesus talks about, is there is a massive amount of blessing when we seek peace and when we experience peace because we sought it. And so that one, to me, is a highlight. I tell that story in the book.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, she just wanted to know, do you love me? Do you love me enough to understand my pain? And I obviously, when we met, I was able to let her see that. But more importantly, I told her, I said, I'm not going to be able to just say it. You're going to have to see it over time, with
Definitely.
just our experience together. And
It's really amazing how amazing our children are.
Yeah, they are. True.
It says a lot about all of you, like
It
your
really
your
does.
pursuit of each other, the forgiveness, the peacemaking on both sides.
Right.
That she met with coffee for you.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
Your story really is such a story of grace and redemption.
Amen.
I mean,
Yeah.
when I look at, I've told you this so many times. I mean, I think your marriage is like when I think about marriages, like you're one of the marriages to me that's at the very top, like
Yeah.
what I want. And so to hear you talk about like the beginning, before we knew you,
Yeah.
I just can't help but see, man, the Lord did take what you call a mess and really did
Totally.
create a masterpiece for His
Yeah.
glory.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, He has done that.
His grace and
To
power
His glory.
is
Amen.
is
I
amazing.
mean, it
Amazing.
is
Yeah.
so beautiful. And for the person listening that may be thinking like that, I'm just thinking about people that I know who it can be messy. I mean, at the beginning, and for a long time. I mean, I
Yeah.
even think like with in-laws. I remember my mom telling me, this is probably an old saying. I don't think she made it up, but maybe she did. I don't know.
She
But
makes up some stuff.
She makes up a lot. But basically, my whole childhood was made up.
Yeah.
But I think this is
That's called her narrative.
Yeah.
for real.
narrative.
She's
Yeah,
super creative.
yeah.
I think she said something like, she was talking about Eric, but when you marry him, you don't just marry him, you marry his family.
Yes.
That's
Like
true.
and her view on, and my mom was so good at this. She has never ever been like jealous of Eric's mom. She helped me to love Eric's mom more.
Beautiful.
Mm.
Like when I'm thinking about, when you said about blended families, I'm thinking about people in all different situations, like those people who are just getting married, who are like, oh gosh, like I'm going into this family, I'm not sure if we're all going to get along. You will get along if you make an effort and commitment to get along.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
Indeed.
That's good.
It is a choice.
That's very wise.
I mean, you have to control your tongue. You have to control, I remember another thing she said. She said those are his parents. He can say whatever about them that he wants. You cannot. They are the
Yeah.
only parents
Good
you will ever
advice.
have. I mean, it's great advice.
Good.
Like
Not that I said anything bad about my parents.
you have amazing parents.
I do.
But I think the principle is like you love that new family, just like you love your original your family of origin.
Yeah.
Like you choose to love them the same.
Yeah.
And my mom really did a great job of modeling that.
Your mom has been so awesome to my family, and my parents have
Amazing.
always spoken
Yeah.
so highly of your family.
Yeah.
And I mean, both sets of our parents, I mean, poured so much wisdom into us in terms of we grew up, believe in the same things about finances.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
don't be materialistic. Pay cash for everything. You know, that's how your family was. That's how my
Yep.
family was.
Yep.
We both grew up.
Our parents loved each other.
Yes.
I mean, my mom and dad loved each other.
53 years
Your
of marriage for
parents, both parents.
Both parents were
for
married
53
married
years.
53 years, and both parents valued the other in-law.
Both of them did.
That's so cool.
It's a
And
gift.
I will
massive.
say, I was thinking about our young adults just now. If you're dating and like dating in community and all that, if you have parents who love you, love Jesus, they should be the number one people speaking into your relationship.
Totally.
Yes.
Like that is such a no-brainer. They know you better than anyone else. Maybe I'm saying this because I am the parent now.
Come on, say it, baby.
But I really do believe that. Like if
Absolutely.
Okay, there's gonna be there may be friends in your community who maybe are a little jealous and say some things they make some little pokes at you
Yeah.
at times. Your parents want the best for you. I mean,
They
overall,
love you
so
more than you could
if
possibly
your
imagine.
parents love Jesus, they love you. You should be allowing them to speak into the
Totally.
relationships.
Absolutely.
You know,
I-
you
I-
said something about going back to, you made a statement, I think, about he should never say something negative about your parents. If
Yeah.
that comes from either one of you, hopefully it doesn't, but it should only come from you, if at all. I think we can take that and transfer it into blended
Yeah.
family.
Of course.
So in our situation, Kaylee, Melissa, all 5 kids has a parent that we might have we definitely have had tensions in the past with.
Sure.
It's vital, absolutely vital, that my 2 biological daughters, do not hear me say anything about their mom negatively.
Yes.
It's vital that Inez does the same thing about the biological fathers of
That's
her
great.
3 kids. So that same logic that you learned about in-laws
Yeah, same.
goes as a blended
Yeah.
to that, because that's not the way it was modeled by my parents, who were split up.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually was a turnoff to my kids, to their grandfather, because they would hear their grandfather talk bad about their grandmother.
Of course.
And it's like a slippery slope. Once you start, your mind ends up justifying it. And I
Mhm.
saw my dad where
Mhm.
it consumed him. So that's another insight on blended families, is don't, it's after, I mean, you divorce their mom, or you divorce their dad. It is what it is. You no longer should go trying to justify that person wasn't worthy of being married to and talk bad about him.
Mhm.
The reality is, that's on you. That's not on your kids, and don't place that on your kids,
Yeah.
because it will put a chasm between their relationship with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even though you think you're putting
Right.
a justification as to why you did what
Yeah.
you did. Let's
Yeah.
face it.
Yeah.
We know there's no justification I know in my case, I didn't have an appropriate justification.
Yeah.
So for me even to try to
Yeah.
demonize the other person is just inappropriate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
No, it
That
does.
makes perfect sense.
And
Yeah.
I've seen it does, and I put a burden on the kid
On the kid.
that is heavy to carry.
And don't do that to a kid.
Don't do that to a kid.
You know, the stuff you have to deal with is your stuff, not your kid's
Right.
stuff.
Right.
I think that what you were sharing about what your mom was telling you, when your girls get married, they're going to love their spouse. Now, there is never the perfect person for our children. I mean, we'll
At
have
least for our children.
We're always like, well, and so just recognizing the same thing. Like we want to love that in-law, that right, their spouse, and the family that comes with it, right, fully in support of our child.
Yeah.
And that's, for us as a blended family, you learn that right from the get-go. Bringing in new people into a family is just what happens to a blended family from day one.
Yeah.
Whereas a
And choose
nuclear
to love them all.
Yeah, with a nuclear family, you grow into new people coming into your family. We learned that, okay, how do you love people when you don't know them? Maybe they're so different, their culture's different, they're whatever. And just knowing that we want to love our children, and to love our children well is to love the people they love.
That's
and be
really
supportive.
good.
That's great.
That's really
great.
good.
Right. And we do have some great
In-laws.
son-in-laws
We do.
and
Yes.
Awesome.
daughter-in-laws,
Families.
which
Yeah.
is fabulous.
Well, I'm thinking of one more question I want to ask, and I'm thinking of the couples in our church who there's similar stories to yours in that the relationship as it began wasn't. They wouldn't say that our relationship began with Christ as the foundation, but they're at our church now. They're in our community, and they're maturing. They're growing. Maybe one of the spouses just recently became a Christian, and the others, I guess I'm along for the ride, or maybe both of them have become Christian, or maybe one has come back to faith, and the other's exploring, and so it can feel like they're on different places spiritually, but they're both in. I meet couples like this all the time, and I always say, hey, I am so proud of you for being on this journey, but it is a different journey than when your relationship began with Christ as the foundation, and then now you're placing him as the foundation, and you're into your relationship that you already have. So how do you do it?
Well, I'll tell you, when we first got together, we still had an incredible amount of shame in the way we started. And then we later, as really digging in deep to realize what grace really was. And the shame, I would like to tell you, it was instantaneous, but it was a process where it changed from shame to the reality that I disappointed my Heavenly Father in behavior. And I'm grateful for the grace that he afforded me. Now, what I have is I don't have the theological depth that you have, or my wife, who has gone to school and she's a learner and is
she just reads nonstop.
She's a superstar.
Yes, no
a
doubt.
Theological superstar. But what I do have is my story.
Amen.
Yeah.
And what I have found is that when I share my story with guys who are having difficulties, who are, maybe dealing with a bunch of shame or anger issues or frustrations or disappointments, whatever it is, I realize that by me being transparent, not trying to sugarcoat anything, calling it the way it is, affords them the ability to say, well, hey, look at Jim, look at what he went through. And if Jesus' blood is good enough to cover his, maybe there's something in this Christianity for me too.
Yeah.
So the others that are having this situation in the church, I pray that they just lean in. They lean in. They recognize, they go on this journey, this beautiful and difficult and easy journey that Jesus has placed in front of them, and they take one step in front of the other, just like we're told in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, right? And by doing that, they're going to look back someday and say, wow, I see, Lord, how you used my brokenness that you didn't want to happen, but since we got here, you used it in a way to glorify your son. And that makes it, you look back, it's not that it was worth sending to get that story, but now that you have the story, God can use it if you're just obedient.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So-
The other thing I would say is get in a group as quickly as possible. If you haven't done Rooted, do Rooted.
Yeah.
If you have and you started a life group and it fell apart, find another one. You keep looking until you're in a group.
And by the way, you don't need to stop at just one group.
Right.
Not bad. We're in. I mean, we are. I mean, we're like groupies.
No, Kay says that. Kay says, I think Jim runs like 9,000 groups.
I told Eric
She told me that just last night.
Last night, I said, Eric, I think I've met 2,000 men in Jim's life group, Bible studies.
Yeah,
I'm like, he is running like a small church somewhere.
Yeah. So, but the
big
reality,
community,
actually.
but I don't do it just to love on other men. I do it because I need it.
That's good.
I need it. So so we have a couples group. I got a half a dozen guys groups, and I love each one of them.
Yeah, but be in a group.
Yeah, it's great.
and
You don't have to stop by one. You don't have
that's
to stop
right.
with one.
And for us, just to we have to remind ourselves, it's been 22 years.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you were talking to us year
You
two,
use it seems like yesterday.
it does feel like yesterday, but at the same time, that's a problem. It feels like yesterday, and we forget all the steps we've gone through, all the highs and lows and the challenges. It takes time.
Yeah.
And so for those who are like just starting, put Jesus at the center,
Yes.
go on the ride, and know that it's going to be a journey, and that you will look back later and see all that Jesus have done, and you'll be just like us, teary-eyed and in wonder,
Humbled.
Come on.
because he can.
Yes.
He can do
beautiful.
what you would never imagine. And you'll be telling the story, and he'll get all the glory.
Amen.
And so don't stop.
His grace is sufficient. His grace is sufficient.
Amen.
Thank you for listening to this episode of If I Had One Time podcast.
Is that 10 minutes up already?
I know.